Cinesmack contains spoilers of the spoiling type. If you don't want your spoilers spoiled, please turn back now. Otherwise, enjoy the show!
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
Ladies and gentlemen! Welcome to the main event! This is Cinesmack! And the winner is...
Hello, Cinesmacketeers. Wow. Hello, Cinesmacketeers. I've got lots of like gooey stuff inside my mouth from the marmalade sandwiches.
I'm sorry. What?
Welcome to About 181 of Cinesmack, the podcast about films for by filmmakers. I'm your guest host, busy making and eating marmalade sandwiches throughout the episode, as I just said. So don't mind the chewing, the smacking, and all of the stickiness. Andrew, hi, that's me. Joining me tonight is our panel of award-winning judges and the other host who is undercover as a judge tonight. That's gonna be the best that we got. So first off, writer, actor, director, Kyle, you're looking so well, darling. You really are. They've done a marvelous job. I don't know what sort of cream they put on you down at the morgue, but I want some fine.
Oh boy, I was going to pretend to be the undercover host and say a bunch of dumb things in Mike's voice, but I'll let him do that. For two movies that feature long stretches in prison, there were not enough shower scenes for me.
Okay. Second, filmmaker and owner of One Genome Short Productions, Gabriel Really Nice Buns.
That's correct, yes. And take your hands off my lobby boy.
Ooh. With the nice buns, what do you expect? That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
It happens.
Third, filmmaker and owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Tom. Well, what does it say? Where is it? What is it all about? Damn it. Don't keep us in suspense. Serge, this has been a complete fucking nightmare. Just tell us what the fuck is going on. Haggis.
I like this show because it just proves that there are still faint glimmers of civilization left in this barbaric slaughterhouse that was once known as humanity. Indeed, that's what we provide in our own modest, humble, insignificant bucket.
I like the trail off. It's good, it's good.
I almost went with that one, Tom.
Oh.
Almost.
I would
Fourth.
be in trouble.
Yeah, well, it would have been quick. Yeah. Fourth, the other host, filmmaker, and owner of Southsider Studios, Mike. We can still hear you, Mr. Keeler. That was the light you turned off. The microphone is on the other side. It's got microphone written on it. Keeler.
I was surprised that Paddington 2 actually had a quote from when I first met my wife. Open your mind and your legs will follow.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
The romance.
Is she a regular listener?
Oh,
Not
no.
anymore.
No.
Yeah, not anymore.
The romance is alive.
How many years have we been doing this? I think she was on one episode, and that's the most she's ever listened to this podcast.
Mike wasn't even on that one. He was just.
Well, our wives will have something to not talk about next time we get together.
All right. Let's poke at the monkey and see what films we are discussing tonight if we haven't given it away already.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's behind bars and twerking concierge. Welcome to the main event. Tonight, two twisty tales of comedic capers and unexpected outcomes enthrall and entertain us in a bid to be the best. championship? Or will the Grand Budapest Hotel be a 5-star success? In the first corner, from 2017, written by Paul King, Simon Farnaby, and Michael Ball, directed by Paul King. Story, Hugh Bonneville, Hugh Grant, and Ben Whishaw. Paddington 2. In the second corner, from 2014, written by Stephen Sway, Wes Anderson, and Hugo Guinness. Directed by Wes Anderson. Story, Matthew Holmeret, F. Murray Abraham, and Rafe R. Grand Budapest Hotel.
All right. So, yeah, we're going off of the wonderful Paddington 2 and the Grand Budapest Hotel. We have some pretty exciting stuff to talk about for both of these movies. And for those who have not seen Paddington 2, it is nominated as pretty much one of the best family movies of all time. But we'll get into a little bit of that a little bit later. So we're going to start us off with the magical round of writing, and we begin with Tom.
Hey, all right. So I think both of these movies are absolutely exceptional, and I think a lot of it. I think acting is a big part of it, but I really think what gives these stories the best, or these two movies the best chance to succeed and endure, and why we're talking about them so far long after they came out, is their story. That they're both at the heart. They're very there's a whimsical like prison breakout, and the colors are the characters are written very colorfully. The dialogue in both of them is really well done. I think I like if you had said back in like 2016 that before Paddington 2 came out that we would even consider putting Paddington 2 up against Grand Budapest Hotel, which was in the running for Best Picture the year it came out. And it's arguably Wes Anderson's best film, in my opinion. And that the sequel to Paddington would be at this level, that it would be able to be competitive with a movie like Grand Budapest Hotel would be kind of laughable. But like I said, the stories are really good. There's this the breakout. There's actually kind of a mystery involving an old woman and her inheritance, and I think I don't know that both of them do really well in what they're trying to accomplish. And I think it's weird because I think one of the things that it does really well is there's these little tiny bits of dialogue that kind of get lost that that really plays well to repeat viewings. And I've seen Paddington 2 3 or 4 times, and I had forgotten some of the lines, like the prison guard in the cafeteria when Paddington meets Knuckles for the first time, and the whole send a medic to the cafeteria, cancel the medic, send a priest, was really funny. And I think but Grand Budapest Hotel has dozens of lines that are they're really witty, and they don't insult your audience. They're very smart. And so by that, I really want to give it to Paddington 2, but at the same time, Grand Budapest, just the writing is so good. So, and I don't know. I think Grand Budapest win for best screenplay. Yeah, won 4 Oscars. Holy crap! But yeah, I think it won for best screenplay. I'm looking. Sorry. It was nominated. So, I don't know. I think they're just really great. And I know there's like 2 tiny things in Grand Budapest Hotel that kind of keeps it from being a family movie. But I will tell you that it is
probably more than 2.
Well, I mean, there's the head, and then there's the giving head, and then there's the wrinkly
painting
boob and the painting.
Oh.
But that's art. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I will tell you, it's one of the first rated R movies that I showed my kids, and I think my son, who's 13. How old were you when you saw Grand Budapest?
11.
So he was 11 when he first saw it, and it's one of their favorite movies. They love it, and they all get together. Hey! It does,
in a good way.
No need to.
Yeah. He's very mature.
They're cultured, so he has both paintings up on his wall. So anyway,
A boy with apple, and I don't know what the other one was called, but
I don't know. A girl with peach. I think is that one called.
Good one.
Oh God, somebody else talk.
It was a Georgia O'Queef.
Isn't that where isn't that where the phrase "one hand in the bush is 2 in the"?
It's a bird. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So you're better off having 1 bird is dead than losing it to chase 2 in the bush. It's like a hunting metaphor.
The bush, yeah, the bush.
Yeah, it's not about plucking birds out of women's nether regions. Anyways, yeah,
their nests.
Tom, you're absolutely yes, lady nests, empty nest, like that show with the guy that's Saint Bernard. Remember that? All right. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, I am a Wes Anderson coin flip. Whereas some of his stuff I absolutely adore. Other stuff is too cute, and I'm like, I see what you're doing, and no, sir, I don't like it. Grand Budapest Hotel is the best of Wes Anderson, in my opinion, of what I've seen. And we'll get to it when we get into directing, but I think a lot of that has to do with the performances he gets out of the actors. But the script is so simple, but filled with so much detail. Like the story, right? From A to B is very simple, but the in-between is filled with so much detail. All of the pieces connect and interconnect and weave throughout time. There are lots of little fun and funny touches, some of which, again, I think steer into that too cute, like Saoirse Ronan having a birthmark that looks like Mexico on her face. Like, that's a little like, okay, Wes Anderson, we get it. You're very quirky. But man, yes, the dialogue is incredibly smart. It can be like whip sharp at times. It can be very cruel, can be very kind and lovely. And the way the story moves and the world moves, you get these sometimes big jumps between either time or distance, but you never feel lost. You feel like the story is being told to you, the way it's being told to the narrator of the film, which is a lovely bit of storytelling, and I think it's pulled off expertly. Paddington 2, I had never seen Paddington 1 when we watched it for the show, and I absolutely adored it. I fell in love with it. Paddington 2, I think, is as good, if not better. Like, Paddington 2 is an incredibly fun movie, and captures that like a joy and a playfulness and the sense of danger that feels safe to a kid, but still is fun and funny. And you don't feel like it doesn't have any stakes. There's a real emotional weight to it, but also a lot of joy and hope. And there's a great comeuppance of the bad guy. Brendan Gleeson is a wonderfully written character. I think he's very interesting. I love the little quirks and the way they inject color and life and things into the script just through happenstance and things that happen in the movie. Paddington is an absolutely lovable and adorable 10 out of 10 character. And I don't know if the Paddington movies get better. I've heard there are some dips in quality, but I'm going to watch all the Paddington movies because I find them very lovely and joyful.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
oh.
I think the working word for me for these movies was charming. Paddington 2 was immediately charming. I had never seen it. I still have not yet seen Paddington 1, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I will, because it was immediately charming. I was immediately brought in with the characters and Paddington himself. And then I've always felt that Wes Anderson's films are charmingly quirky. They're very quirky, but they have a very alluring kind of charm to them. And so I thought both of these were extremely well written. I love how in Grand Budapest Hotel that a lot of the dialogue reveals the true characters. Because M. Gustav, Ray Fiennes' character, he always tries to be like kind of, highfalutin and cultured and that kind of stuff. But then every once in a while, he just goes off the rails and says stuff like we said earlier, fuck it. And you realize that it's an act that he's putting on to a certain degree. And it all comes through in just the way he talks and his dialogue. In Paddington, all the characters are so just, even the bad guys in a way are just so charming and likable. Kyle, you mentioned what's his name? What's his name?
Brendan Gleeson?
Brendan Gleeson. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that you would not expect in a movie like this and not expect to enjoy so much, but he's so well written. There's this mystery to him, and and he seems tough, but he's really not. And I think that comes down to how his character is written and how his dialogue is presented. And so I find both of these highly enjoyable from a writing standpoint.
Well, mark it down for another episode of Cine Agree, at least this round. What saves both these movies is the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue is written just perfectly. Grand Budapest, I know that the writers thought out the characters, but I give that more to the actors kind of bringing them to life. But the dialogue throughout is fantastic. And I had never seen Paddington 2. I mean, I have a 9-year-old. He's never wanted to see it. So this was my first time watching it. And I fell in love with the movie. Like, it is absolutely fantastic. It's everything you guys said. It's heartwarming. They think through the problems. Most of it's done with kindness. And, where if this would have happened in America, I couldn't help but draw parallels like, oh, let's go to the American version of Paddington where they're in prison. And it would just be absolutely doom and gloom. But Tom brought up, and I'm sure that UK prisons are not like that, but I think, Gabe, you said it was charming. I picked both these movies up as whimsical, right? Like the Grand Budapest is this story told by this man, and it is filled with lavish kind of. I feel like it's not the actual truth, but it's his version of the truth. And Paddington is just this lovely, cute little bear that's going out wants to do something nice for the aunt that saved his life and raised him, and the family behind him helping him do that. And I think there's a lot of great qualities in there that if you're watching it all adds up. But the dialogue for me just stuck out in both of these films. It is so well written. It really helps make the characters a reality. Like I never really felt like there was a throwaway line, something that was filler in either one of these films.
Yeah, I think, and one of the other things too is that the story structure of Grand Budapest, that those layers of history that you kind of trickle into at the beginning and then kind of work your way back out at the end. Um, it's such a simple device, but it makes this little story about this little hotel um, a much grander story, cross generational.
Oh, yes.
And it's I don't know, it's part of the genius of Wes's writing, especially on this one, and he does this a lot in his movies. Just this layering of either themes or time or characters, and it's one of the things that keeps bringing me back to his stuff.
And I just want to say, like, Paddington 2 is a very simple plot, right? Like, there is nothing about that makes it a spectacular plot, but it's how the characters are written and what they say that makes Paddington 2 so good. It's not the plot. Where Grand Budapest, you do kind of have this little mystery, things kind of weave through, like you said, but I feel like it's a little more complicated than Paddington 2, but that doesn't make Paddington 2 worse for it.
Yeah, and it's interesting how, Grand Budapest Hotel has a little bit more adult themes in it. And yet it never really, to me, it never really crossed the line. We kind of mentioned some of those things early on, but it's still somehow, kind of approachable and charming, even though it has a little bit more adult themes and material in it from time to time. So, yeah, and yeah, for Paddington 2, I just really felt like, yeah, all these characters were so thoughtfully developed that we could actually care about all of them, even the bad guy at the end when he gets to do his own show. And I'm like, this is great. I love this because he's a bad guy. He's been doing kind of bad things throughout the whole thing, and he's maybe even been threatening to kill some of these characters, or but he still gets his he still gets a kind of a positive ending. And I just, that's one of the things about Paddington 2 is that it's very very optimistic.
It's heartwarming. Yeah, it's a feel good
It
movie.
is, yes, for sure. Yeah. But it's not sappy though.
No,
What I mean?
It's not
It's like,
saccharine.
yeah,
And it doesn't feel cheap.
or pandering. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Well, that was quite the whimsical round. Look at that. I love it. Oh,
So nice.
all right. So yeah, we're gonna vote now. That was Tom.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to give it to Grand Budapest, I think.
Gabe.
Yeah, I'm split as well, but slight edge to Grand Budapest, I think.
Kyle.
Oh, they're both very good. You know what? Give me Paddington 2 on this one.
And Mike.
Man, I'm in the same boat as these guys.
Stroke.
Paddington 2.
All righty.
Hey Danny, you're good for the night. See you, man. Danny Blood's good.
All right, Gov.
He's going home.
See you right, Gov.
This is how I feel with Wes Anderson movies. And I'm getting paid to pimp him. Okay, writing Paddington 2. Writer and director Paul King co-wrote the screenplay for this movie with Simon Farnaby, who had a small role in Paddington, the first one, as Geographers Guild security guard Barry. In this movie, Barry, same character, is now a security guard at the St. Paul's Cathedral, where he shows an attraction to the nun he catches sneaking around, who is actually Phoenix Buchanan in disguise.
Yeah, that
This
was very
follows.
That scene was
So it
great.
follows a similar
Yeah.
gag in the first film, in which Barry shows an attraction to Mr. Brown when he's disguised as a female cleaner.
funny.
So ongoing joke throughout these.
Yeah.
The Grand
also have
Budapest Hotel is the highest grossing movie to date for writer, producer, and director Wes Anderson's career. And it was also included amongst the 1001 movies you must see before you die by Steven Schneider. And it was added and it is part of the Criterion Collection. Which, based on what everything said, I think that pretty much fits.
100%.
All right. Let's move on to acting.
Well, I used. Oh, sorry.
Gabe.
I got ahead of myself. I used the word charming for the first round for the writing. I think I'm going to use the word complete or comprehensive, maybe, for the acting. Both of these movies have really great casts that just, really no complaints. I mean, I don't know how Wes Anderson does it. And I think maybe it was Tom that mentioned earlier that, one of the great things is not only the writing, but the performances that Wes Anderson gets out of his actors. And even in the shortest of scenes, Wes Anderson works with all of these great recognizable actors. And some of them in Grand Budapest only have short scenes. They're in it for, seconds or minutes, but they're all recognizable. And the characters, even those simple characters, kind of jump off the screen. And I think the performances are understated in many ways. But that's what's really great about them to me, is that, and I feel like he gives the actors a lot of leeway as far as how they want to portray these characters. And it's weird because at the same time, I think they're over the top in some ways, and yet they're understated in other ways. And I just don't know how he does it. I think he gets great performances out of these actors, these kind of almost kind of, I don't know the right word for it, but he gets great performances out of the actors. And I think the actors in Paddington 2, voice actors, physical actors, just so enjoyable on the screen and so, again, so charming, so complete, so enjoyable to watch. Really great performances in it. And this is going to be another difficult round. I think it's actually going to be closer than we think because there's some really, really strong performances in both of these movies.
There is a certain kind of acting style that Wes Anderson pulls from his actors, and I've always really liked it. I'm going back to Rushmore, and it is unlike really any other movies out there. His production design and his scripts and his acting that he gets out of his actors all kind of they're all almost trademarked as Wes Anderson-y. But on this watch, I got kind of the point is like it's almost like a lack of acting, and I don't want to take anything away from the really great performances, but it's a little stilted. And when I put it up against a movie like Paddington 2, where there's so much life, and like you said, Brendan Gleeson has got some really fun range in Paddington 2, and Hugh Grant just, chews scenery through the whole thing, and it's so much fun to watch. I don't know, part of it took away a little bit for the first time, some Wes Anderson type love that I have for the acting in his movies is that they kind of, just hit that one note, and it's a beautiful note and it's a funny note, but it just, I don't know, it just maybe doesn't have the range that a movie like Paddington 2 had.
Do you feel like it came back to the same feeling too many times, or it played the same gags too many times or jokes?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. But
okay.
At the same time, just I want you to say your lines very low key. I want you to say them very fast, and I want you just like a train of thought, talk, 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 and all the characters do that. All of them do that, and it's. I think that's one reason. Like, one of my kids' favorite lines in the movie is, "Did you just throw my cat out the window?" Which is like it's one of the most
I almost took
genuine.
that line too.
It's almost one of the most. It's probably one of the most genuine feeling lines in the whole movie because it breaks up that whole long, lengthy, wordy lines, and then they just this one very his cat gets thrown out the window, and it's just this very concern for his pet, and it just kind of sticks with you out of the other stuff in the movie.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. I would say Jeff Goldblum and Willem Dafoe are maybe the two that kind of escape that. This may be the movie where Willem Dafoe has the least amount of lines in a movie I've ever seen. It's crazy to have Willem Dafoe in your movie and like not let him talk, but he is very scary and menacing. I don't know what kind of appliance they had for his teeth, but he reminds me of an orc. He's got like these prominent lower incisor teeth. It reminds me kind of orcish. I didn't think Adrian Brody was great in this movie. He is a little menacing. He's kind of quiet. He's a little weedy. It doesn't really strike me as putting fear into anybody. It's just me. I mean, of course, until they all start shooting at the end, which was a crazy scene. But I think the chemistry between Ralph Fiennes and, sorry, I don't have the actor's name, but the lobby boy, is really incredible. Saoirse Ronan fits into that really well. Ralph Fiennes is just, every time I see him, I gain a new appreciation for him, which I think we talked about it in Conclave. Like, he's such a good face actor. You can get so much from his expressions, just his little micro expressions and the way he looks and little movements of being either crestfallen or excited or angry. He's really great at that. Also, he's a master at delivering dialogue. And when you have real kind of wordy, quick, to the point, sharp dialogue, he's really great at that. He's also really great at slow dialogue. I mean, he's just a fantastic actor. One of the best. The supporting cast is, I mean, it turns out being very samey in a lot of Wes Anderson movies. He uses a lot of the same actors over and over again, which, I mean, that's his prerogative. He picks a lot of really good actors to do that with. But sometimes they show up and you're like, I kind of would like a little more Bill Murray, maybe. Do I want a little more Owen Wilson? I don't know. But the fact that they're on the periphery is interesting, and it's kind of fun. It makes all the worlds feel interconnected. The dialogue is fantastic and fantastically delivered. I think it repeats itself a little bit for me. I mean, they kind of find themselves in the same situations maybe one too many times, but it's very fantastical and a good story kind of woven throughout everything. I mean, we didn't even talk about like Jude Law is in the movie. It's just an incredible cast of characters that are just there for short amount of time, and they kind of pop in and pop out. But they're also given really good physical stuff to do, like what they call like business, right? Like stuff to do in scenes. They're just given lots of interesting, fun things to do in the world that makes things move and flow. Really quick, getting to Paddington. I think it is the ideal portrayal of a family unit, like of the blending of people with all different interests and struggles and the view on things and things they care about, but they all care for each other and come together, even though, you have people in the house that aren't blood related. Like, they all treat each other so wonderfully. And even in the neighborhood, with the exception of the one really mean Doctor Who, they all treat each other with such affection. And the bad guys are even comical, like Hugh Grant must have just been chomping at the bit. Like, I don't know if he likes doing this over the top stuff. I had heard that he didn't like dancing at the end of Love Actually. I think it was, or one of those romantic movies. But man, they give him a lot to do and he just sinks his teeth. I think Sally Hawkins deserves a lot of credit. She has a lot of earnest, honest quality. She portrays that sort of creative, curious, loving person very well. The dad is very straight-laced and corporate, but it never gets in the way of him like loving his children, being there for his family. Like they all have aspects of their personality, but the thing they have in common is their care for each other. And they all pull that off so well. They all just treat each other with such care and reverence. And I think that's what the way they were directed. Like, and you got to give them credit too, because a lot of times they're acting against nobody, right? A lot of these scenes, there's nobody there, or there's a stand-in. It's not actually Paddington. And also the work they do to give Paddington his facial expressions and his reactions and his dialogue. I mean, it's just fantastic. These movies are fantastically acted.
Boy, oh boy. That doesn't leave me much to say besides I agree with everything everyone has said. You've touched on all of my notes. I mean, Hugh Grant really sold the movie for me, along with oh gosh, we said his name a few times. The prison
Brendan
cook.
Gleeson?
Yes, Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson.
Like both of them really made the movie for me, right? Besides Paddington. And I know it is a totally animated character. But Kyle brings up a good point. Like there's a lot of times people are acting without seeing what's there. You know, they may have had a stand-in, or they may have had, you know, some kind of device that they could look at, you know, like a stick with a smiley face on it or something. But there's nothing, and they pull through that. And it doesn't come off where sometimes you can tell in movies when they have a CGI character, they are not really into it. Their eyes are just a little bit off, you know, looking at the character in a shot. These were all just great. But yeah, both of them really made the movie for me. I really enjoyed them. And Grand Budapest, you know, someone said that you have these little bit parts for big stars, and it's great when you're sitting, you're like, oh crap, that's Harvey Keitel, or oh crap, that's Bill Murray. And Jason Schwartzman at the beginning of the film, you know, Willem Dafoe has such a original look that he doesn't really need lines. You know, like you said, they gave him those prosthetic teeth, and he just has to look menacing. And I mean, he looks menacing trying to be nice. You know, he has this great look, and I thought that fit perfect. It's always great to see Jeff Goldblum. Ed Norton, you know, pops in, pops out. And it just go through the list. You know, I'm looking at IMDb right now and looking at the cast, and it's hard to say that I did not like an actor in the film. So once again, for me, this is going to be very difficult.
I had a question about Ed Norton's performance.
Yes.
I like Ed Norton in it, but I felt like he had a lack of an accent. I felt like he was supposed to be kind of a Germanic character.
I agree with you on that. It is very.
And I felt like was that intentional, or was
American.
that just? Yes, and the same with the brief appearance of Owen Wilson.
Yes.
I felt like there was something about his performance that it was like, oh, it's a little bit just too Owen Wilson.
Now,
those are minor criticisms, by the way.
But, I understand.
You know, just thought.
Get off the podcast, Gabe.
Yes. Okay.
You know, it could have been, in my opinion, it could have been where they actually tried doing the accent, and Wes Anderson was probably like, no, I don't like that. Or it was,
right.
It was bad. Right. You know, either he didn't care for it, or it was bad, or they couldn't do it. So they're your three choices. But I agree with you. Like when Edward Norton started talking, I'm like, wait, he's just an American.
Yeah, he doesn't sound very like all the other guys seem very like kind of Germanic in descent, you know.
Right.
And because obviously that they were representing.
Yep.
You know, Nazis and stuff.
But Just real quick, I'm sorry. Someone brought up just the extras. You know, some of the extras in both of these films are great. And I don't even mean extras. I mean, even a step above where they're just kind of secondhand characters. They have, there are some great spots for them to do a little bit of acting in both of these films as well. Not just the main cast.
Knuckles breakout crew are all, I mean, everybody, all the guys in the prison do
Right.
a great job.
Your support characters. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Tony Hale and Noah Taylor are in there. It was just fun kind of seeing like people that you knew just pop up in these little roles here and there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
like, I know him. Oh shit, that was Tilda Swinton.
Well, that round was wholeheartedly heartwarming.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Charmingly.
fantastic. That, wonderful. All right, Gabe.
Yeah. Oh, me? I'm voting. This is a tough one. I found oh man. I love the Wes Anderson style, but I really found Paddington 2 to be charmingly heartwarming. So I'm going to go with Paddington 2.
Right. Kyle.
Oh, yeah, boy. I just, for the sheer amount of great acting, I'm going to give it to Grand Budapest.
Okay. And Mike.
Oh God. I'm going with Grand Budapest.
And Tom.
I'm gonna give it to Paddington 2, but just barely.
Barely, huh? All right.
Really
Well,
a bigger laugh on that one. Wow. All right.
But well, I'm sure our listening audience they will laugh.
Barely.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Tom.
Hey!
Hey, wait. Is that or this guy sucks? So stinks. This guy stinks.
All right. Paddington 2. One day after completing her demanding underwater scenes from The Shape of Water, Sally Hawkins flew from Toronto, Canada, all the way to London, England to begin production on this movie, only to find out she would have to shoot underwater scenes for this movie as well. So she went from, hey, I'm going to get all dry, and now I'm all wet again. That's okay. Grand Budapest Hotel. So you guys were talking about accents. Let me give you a little bit of trivia about said accents, shall we? So Rose Ronan plays Agatha, and Anderson recalls her asking, which accent should she use for the character? And I said, well, Ralph is speaking like an English person, and Jeff is speaking like Jeff Goldblum, and Tony is speaking in the accent of Anaheim, and we have German actors who are speaking with German accents, so I guess Irish. Ronan replied that she's never played a character in her real accent, so, quote, for my first time, it will be when I'm playing a bakery girl from Zabrowka. Ugh. Yeah, that's a word.
That's easy for you to say.
I know. So I thought that was really funny that it kind of sounded like they were just like, it's a hotel. Whatever accent you want to pick, I guess. I thought that was relatively interesting. Okay. Well, don't stop me from you getting it on. Let's go to directing. Kyle, why don't you make like a director?
And get the leaf out of here? I don't understand. Oh, directing. Okay, so let's start with the elephant in the room, Wes Anderson and his directing style, which I think is I could say you love it or hate it, because I don't want to say it's the same every movie. There are variations on a theme, but he has a distinct style. And if you can't get with that style, I think it's a bit like the Spice Girls. If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends, right? So if you want to enjoy these movies, you got to get with Wes Anderson, and you got to buy into some of this. Some of it's not going to make sense. You have to go along for the quirky ride, like we're talking about all these people in a fictional Eastern Central European country, speaking different accents. There's one country or one person who at one point it becomes nationless, you know? So you're talking about a war is a big theme in it, right? But their interactions with each other, regardless of the lack of practical realism, are still very genuine and in an allegorical and sort of, what's the word? Archetypal way. It's still in the language of film and you get it, even though you don't scratch your head and wonder like, well, why does this person sound Irish and why does this person sound English? You just accept it because the story is dragging you along, and that's not the important part, right? It's kind of the magic of it. It makes you forget the practical details. And I think the way he sets a shot, the way he frames things, his use of color, his use of distance and depth in shots is really spectacular. There are some incredibly amazing shots in the Grand Budapest Hotel, and they run the gamut from beautiful, wonderful, interesting close-ups, very simple shot, reverse shot, very fantastical places like the observatory, writing, when we see the hotel from a long distance away, we see the under shots, as they're going down into the sewer to escape, like just fantastic. It's great. The pacing is great. His use of lighting and color is wonderful. It's a marvel. It's a treat to watch. It's the style that is going to be whether it's up to your taste or not, whether you can kind of accept that quirkiness. Paddington, I don't want to say Paddington is like safely directed. That would be incorrect. It's incredibly competently directed and perfectly directed for its subject matter. I can't think of a child leaning movie outside of some of the big staples like Toy Story, some of the Pixar films, right? That you go like, wow, that is a fantastically directed movie. And those are almost entirely animated with no humans in the frame. This is a mixture and a lot of mixture of practical and CG effects, and it just blends so well together. You never doubt that Paddington is real and there, even though you obviously know he's not. And that is such a credit to the director for getting the buy-in from the actors, for getting the eye lines right, for all that attention to detail that makes that work. And also for the visual artists and the directors of that process that tie that together. I have been so incredibly surprised these last few months watching Cinesmack movies, and I'd never seen Grand Budapest Hotel, and I would not consider myself a huge Wes Anderson fan. I've seen maybe a handful of his films. I was blown away by how much I loved it. And exactly the same with Paddington 2. I loved Paddington 1. It took me completely by surprise, and Paddington 2 was like a second helping of a great meal. Like, I know I'm just sitting here gushing. You can make checks out to my name and just send them to me, or cash in envelopes, I prefer. But look, I really have no negatives to say about the directing of these films. I think they are superbly executed.
So I'm with Kyle. Wes Anderson for me is 50-50 if I like the film or if I actually want to watch the film. But I always try to give it a shot. And it's generally 50-50. And there's something about this film that just hits right. I think it was firing on all cylinders. But his directing style, not only are you directing your cast and you're telling them, as we spoke in last round, how they should deliver their lines or how they should look, in the scene, but every frame is meticulously thought of. Every shot is designed in a way that is, for me, as someone that pays a lot of attention to shots, lighting, it's just fantastic, and I love it. And I think Tom even said that this is his best film, and I would have to agree with that out of the ones that I have seen. And I've seen maybe three other films that he's done. The time it takes to set up each shot that he has in mind has got to be just forever. And I would think that he has this crew that knows how he works, so they can think ahead, and it's great. Like, just every shot is a painting. It's almost at some points it feels like you're watching a stage play, but you're not. It's not like the old 50s, 40s, 50s movies where essentially they were kind of doing a play in front of a camera style. But this just, it's that quirkiness. Now, Paddington 2, before I just keep going off about the framing and such. Paddington 2, what blew me away was the storybook. The absolute beautiful layout of, him visualizing his aunt coming to London, and he's running down with all the paper cutouts, and it was just beautiful. I loved it. And I would agree with Kyle. Like, there are certain scenes where it's like, yeah, okay, I understand. You had to get this shot. Where there are other shots where he's like, oh, we've got a little extra time. Let's do this. And it works. And it works so well. Yeah, I just, both of these films are really, really good.
I think one of the reasons, so Wes Anderson's directing style, I think it plays really well. This is one of his movies where the acting and the directing and the production design and the script all support each other. There's some of his other movies, I feel like the maybe the acting isn't quite up to the script, or the story, it doesn't really beg to be put at this level of whimsy, and so it kind of throws you off a little bit. But for Grand Budapest Hotel, everything just clicks really, really well in a way that none of his other movies really do. And I think I've seen about all but two of his movies, and this one is, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do think it's his best one. Venetian Scheme is really, really good too. Benicio del Toro he's not somebody that you would pick to be a really good Wes Anderson troupe player, but I wanted him to get nominated for Best Actor this year because I thought he did such a great job. That being said, I think a lot of credit needs to go to Paul King for his work with Paddington 2. Paddington 1 is an exceptional family movie. It's so much better than you think it would be. And I kind of liken it to, I don't know, the original Star Wars trilogy, that the Paddington first movie really set the table and set up the whole world building thing. And once you bought into it, they took everything that they learned from Paddington 1 and they made everything better with Paddington 2. And they did not hold back. The action scene, the last 20 minutes of Paddington 2 is, they didn't have to have like 2 train chase down parallel tracks and like everything going on in the underwater scene when the train goes flying off the hill. It's crazy that a family movie at this scope was like, no, we're going to do a Mission Impossible style collusion with this thing, and they didn't hold back, and I love them for it. That it's and it when Paddington's down locked underwater, it goes to some pretty dark places. There's some Toy Story 3 moments in that between him and Sally Hawkins, and it's fantastic. And it would have been so easy for them to just coast through Paddington 2 after how good Paddington 1 was, and for them to just like up it and be like, no, we're going to do even better and more, and the script's going to be better, and everything across the board's going to be better. And I think it's a credit to Paul King for doing that. Now, that being said, it does make Paddington 3 Return of the Jedi, and it does feel like they could not live up to Paddington 2 with the third one, because Paul King leaves the series and goes to a different director. It's got a different flair to it. It's still a really, really great, fun movie. But it's just, yeah, it's not quite up to Paddington 2. So, yeah, so I don't really know which one I'm going to vote for, but this is a tough category for me, but it's hard to beat Wes Anderson when he's at his best.
Yeah, and Wes Anderson definitely has his own style. He has a very distinct style, and in many ways it shows through in basically everything that he does. I saw a little thing where it said that he was kind of accused of repeating himself a lot. And he says, I try not to, but it's just kind of like, this is just what I like. This is the way I, present these things. And he definitely has a very quirky, identifiable style. And part of that style is something that Mike mentioned, is great composition. The shots are composed so wonderfully, and the colors are amazing. The colors are always very thematic, and they may have something to do with the characters or the location or whatever, but there's definitely a theme in the colors. They're not accidental, they're not random. And the pacing, I think that one of the key things in both of these movies is the pacing. And actually, it kind of made me think of Edgar Wright. I think Edgar Wright, in some ways, is a little bit like Wes Anderson, in some ways. And one of the ways would be the pacing, the just perfect pacing, the perfect editing of these scenes. There's no time wasted, but you still know exactly what's going on and where people are. And also with Wes Anderson films, I like and we've used this word a lot, and I think it's an appropriate word, the quirky mix of different types of filmmaking. So some of it is live action, some of it is stop motion, some of it is animation, and it all somehow blends wonderfully together to make this really enjoyable story to watch. And I think it's, like I said, he's very quirky, and he's very kind of predictable in some ways, but it's always enjoyable, always. And this is Paddington 2 is my first, is it Paul King film? Yeah, Paul King.
Yeah,
Correct.
This is my first experience with Paul King, I think. And I'll tell you what, same thing, perfect pacing, great composition, great choice of colors. Cinematography was wonderful. Like Tom said, this is going to be a difficult category because I think I've chosen a word for each of these categories so far, and I think the word for this category is competent. Both of these are very competently directed, and it shows. It results in great entertainment.
Well, and
and I would.
you bring up a really good point, like just the color palette for the movie and in both of these are thought of, right? Like,
yes, it's not accidental by any means. Yeah.
And one other thing I want to add about Wes Anderson is I've always felt he does not all of his shots, but a majority of his shots could be done on a Fisher dolly, right? Like every once in a while, there's a dolly move either toward or away or side to side. There is a boom arm up, boom arm down. There is otherwise, like Kyle said, shot, reverse shot, static. Every once in a while, you might see something that would involve a jib. But other than that, it is very simple storytelling. And he does it very well because he fills that frame with character, and that's what it's all about, is it brings out each one of those characters.
Really set something out for that low budget filmmaker. I don't need all this equipment.
Right? No, it's true. It's very true.
It's true.
My one thing I'll say about directing, because you guys have touched Wes Anderson's directing and style.
Oh, we've touched the hell out of it.
I know. I would definitely say that there are a lot of directors that it doesn't matter what film you're watching, the director.
Oh, correct.
Yes.
Michael
Yeah.
Bay, Steven Spielberg's. But I mean, they have very distinct things, and I realize Wes Anderson sticks out more than some of these others. But I think that's really categorical with some of these larger, people that are doing these bigger movies that are more well known.
Right.
They have that style locked in
Right.
for themselves.
Yep.
All right.
I know Gabe had said competent directing, but I'd also throw out confident. Like these two guys went into these movies and they know exactly what they wanted, shot for shot, and it's just a testament to how prepared they were when they showed up on set.
I know.
That's
and it's
another good
amazing
way.
to be able to think. Yeah. It's amazing to be able to think that all out
Yeah.
in advance,
Wow.
mostly.
What a cleverly competent, confident creators round we had there.
Oh boy, someone got a
Boy.
thesaurus.
Kyle.
He's been looking them up.
Yikes. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. God, man, this is really hard. I'm gonna stick with my flip-flopping that I've been doing so far and give this one to Paddington.
Mike.
Oh boy. I mean, I was so pleasantly surprised with Paddington 2. But I got to give it to Grand Budapest.
Dom.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Grand Budapest as well.
It's a mouthful. Gabe.
Yeah, this might be the round that tips it a little bit. I'm because of the immediately recognizable and distinct style, I'm going to go with Wes Anderson in Grand Budapest.
Grand Budapest. Budapest. Gotcha.
Strangely hard to say.
Yeah. All right. In Paddington 2. Sanjeev Bhaskar says when he filmed Paddington cleaning Dr. Jeffrey's windows, it was actually writer and director Paul King shimmying his rear end up and down on the soapy glass.
Was he in it like green suit?
That's
doing
fantastic.
Probably. In the Grand
Ping pong
Budapest
balls.
Hotel. Yeah, that would be an interesting ping pong ball suit with your ass on the window. Wes Anderson saw a Saint Bernard in the streets of Saxony, Germany, where they filmed. He took its information down and he hired the dog for the film. The dog's owner is also in the scene, which meant they didn't have to have an animal wrangler. And all Anderson said was, I hope that's legal.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say I want us to address this question in overall. I want to say it before I forget it. Speaking of dogs, what happens to Paddington's dog friend at the end? It wraps up almost every other storyline neatly, but I don't recall what happened to the dog, and we can answer that in the next round.
Maybe you need to wait for Paddington 3.
Okay.
It's not in there. Sorry.
I know, but come on, work
Dang
with
it.
me. Tom.
Is it possible
Intelligence.
Paddington 2 is a prequel for Old Yeller?
Boom.
And Grizzly
I
Man.
I didn't expect it to get so dark.
And where the red fern grows. And overall is next with Mike.
I'm not sure there's much else that can be said about these movies, but I'll try. You brought up the window cleaning. I love the fact that he had a band with him when he was cleaning the skyscraper, and then they show up again. I mean, oh my God. Like, the movie is just fun. And in these unprecedented times that we live in, you need a little bit of that escapism. And joy that the movie brings you. You know, I'm known as the action movie junkie. Like, I love horrible 80s, 90s, every action movie, but this movie just drew me in, and for all the right reasons. As far as music is concerned, like, nothing really stuck out to me as something that I would want to have on my phone. I did enjoy the score of Grand Budapest, but it's nothing that I'm, running straight to iTunes to buy. Paddington 2, I enjoyed the music. I liked the musical number at the end, with Hugh Grant's character. I thought that was great. But overall, we've always go down to rewatchability, and that's the problem here. Both of these films are very rewatchable. Both of these films have stuff that if you watch them again, I'm guessing you're going to pick up on, something new, and you're going to be like, oh, I never noticed that before. Like Tom, I don't know if this was before we started to do the show, but he mentioned the guard when Paddington is getting ready to talk to Brendan Fraser's character. And he's like, send the medic down to the... He's like, no, just send send the priest.
Yeah.
Cancel
the medic. Send the priest.
Yes. I mean, it is so deadpan, and it is so funny. Like, there's just those little things. And after rewatching Grand Budapest again, I mean, there are things that you pick up on. There are tiny little things that the actors do that you don't realize until you've seen it multiple times. And I think that's what makes both of these films very charming and rewatchable, is the culmination of really good writing, very, very good acting, competent directing, and it just brings it all together. I mean, this is why movies are made, both of these films. You get sucked in and you go on a ride, which it's difficult to say nowadays it's kind of a toss up on if you're going to enjoy a movie, if it's going to pull you into the story. But both of these films accomplish that, and they're great.
I think one of the things that that speaks to the greatness of these two movies, and it's I hate using this as a metric for how good a movie is, but the fact that both of these are like an hour 45 or less and they are entertaining and they're fun. That right there plays the rewatchability of them, is that I know that I'm going to be done watching this movie in 2 hours, that I'm going to put these movies on over and over again. Grand Budapest Hotel is probably in my top 3 rewatch movies of the last 15 years. I've seen it a lot, and I don't rewatch movies a lot, but it's on every couple of months. I'll put it on again just because I do love just, it's like one time I want to watch it because I know the dialogue, and I know I want to watch it because of the acting, and now I want to watch it because the production design is off the fucking charts. Paddington 2, I'll probably get more reps on it. But yeah, I mean, they're just both just such wonderful, whimsical movies. And if you're looking, if you want, like I said, if you want a movie that's going to kind of take you out of everything that's bringing you down right now, either one of these movies will fit the bill. I think, yeah, they're just really delightful. And I can't tell you how happy I am that we got to spend tonight talking about these two movies. So,
and I want to bring up too, I totally forgot. So I was on set of a feature, and we had 2 or 3 days off, and I didn't want to drive home and just drive right back up. We were in Minnesota. We went and saw, a group of us went and saw the Grand Budapest. And then the following day we saw Captain America Winter Soldier. And do you want to talk about two dynamite films, back to back, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I never thought I would say this about a Wes Anderson movie. This is probably just the cynical part of me. But these are the kinds of movies, I'm going to gush a little bit here, but these are the kind of movies you see, and it reminds me of why we wanted to make movies. Because you look at them and you go, what is this witchcraft, this amazing web that you're weaving, this world you're creating inside of whatever screen you're watching it on. And you want to get to the nuts and bolts of how someone can do that. Part of that is never going to be accessible to us because it lives inside the creator's mind. But watching them and feeling the emotions that they are eliciting from you, and realizing that you are losing yourself to something, to the magic of movie making, to the power of the story, to relating to the characters, the situations, to everything going on, and that for a while you've blocked the rest of the world out, and the only thing you're focusing on is this ride someone's taking you on. That is, to me, one of the most magical things about making movies. And when you see things like Paddington, and it is the least, and I mean this in the best possible way, considering the current state of the world, it is such an uncynical movie. It is just pure. It feels completely pure and made with love and joy and care. And that's what it wants to get across to you, even when it's showing you, oh, there's danger, there's excitement, there's heartbreak, it's all wrapped in this layer of care. And that is so refreshing to watch. I had a little personal info. I had such a terrible day yesterday. It was awful. And I put off watching Paddington until today because I was telling my wife, I just don't feel like watching a movie. I don't feel like watching a movie. And she goes, yeah, but you might feel better. You might feel better if you watch Paddington. And I wish I would have listened to her, because it would have turned my entire day around. But I put it off until tonight, and I was in a better headspace, and it was just delightful. But the Grand Budapest Hotel was so surprising to me. It is such a, I think there's this, we talk about the quirkiness of Wes Anderson, and that can be a barrier to entry for some people. But if you let yourself into the door and you're like, all right, I'm with you on this quirky ride, I feel like you're in such good hands, and that he's going to lead you through this beautiful, interesting, twisty, turny, never going to know where it goes next story. And it was so delightful. Again, even during the sad parts and the upsetting parts and the dangerous parts, you're like enthralled by the story, right? You're forgetting everything else around you. And that's the kind of thoughtful escapism that I think is so great with these movies. And watching them, it was a joy. These movies are a joy. And I think Tom is absolutely right. If they were 2.5 hour movies, 2 hours and 45, even if they were good, they would not hold the punch they have. The movie stops and you're like, I would watch that again. I would recommend that to anyone. You never feel bad. It's hard to go up to somebody and go, hey, you should watch The Irishman, or hey, go watch Gettysburg, or Killers of the Flower Moon. They may be great movies, but clear your weekend. Don't have anything planned. I tell anyone to watch Paddington or the Grand Budapest Hotel. If you've got an hour and 45 minutes, you can't spend it much better.
Yeah, and I think, and even when you have a character like Peter Capaldi's character, who was, I don't want to say like he was making a political statement or anything like that, but even when they were confronted with someone like that, it was still very much like don't respond to hate with more hate. Just this person can't really be helped, so we're going to live in our with our happiness and keep moving forward, which I thought was really exceptional. And I just, look, Wes Anderson, I totally get, he is hit or miss with some people. Asteroid City is, it gets really heady and philosophical and layered in a way that's not as accessible as Grand Budapest Hotel, which is a very straightforward story. Isle of Dogs is very straightforward. Fantastic Mr. Fox is very straightforward, but he has some other ones that are just a little bit more, I don't say intellectual, but they're really not what they're about on the face. And that is, some people don't find those movies enjoyable, and I get that. But without a doubt, Grand Budapest Hotel, if people are like, what's a good introduction to Wes Anderson? This is the one you start with, because you just sit back and be entertained. and it's so hard to find movies like that anymore.
Yeah, and I've had a word for each of these rounds, and I think maybe my word for this round would be comforting. And maybe Tom can contribute another good word, but both of these films are very, like we've mentioned before, comforting in kind of maybe not so comforting times. And I just really, they just made me so happy. But also, I feel like I've been the one who has like kind of repeatedly mentioned the length of modern films. And I'm a little bit surprised that you guys are saying kind of what I've been saying. It's like I looked before I watched these, like how much time do I have to commit to watch these movies? And I was happily surprised that they were just right around an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half. And I'm like, I can do that. I can commit to that. That's the other word, I guess, maybe commit. Commit to comfort. And it's I really I had seen Grand Budapest before, and I'm kind of I'm a fan of Wes Anderson to a certain degree. I certainly haven't seen all of his films, but every time I see one, I enjoy it. I'd never seen Paddington, and I was just so happily surprised at how enjoyable it was. Yeah, talk about rewatchability. I don't know. We talk about it all the time, but these might be some of the most rewatchable movies that we've ever talked about. Because you can go back to these at any time and just enjoy them endlessly and catch. Here's one of the things that I liked about Paddington is the ending during. I think it was during the credits, but they were going through all of the different like people. And like, well, what happened to these people, and we get to see that Knuckles starts a sandwich shop and it's called Knuckles Sandwich. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That's, and there's a whole bunch of those little things at the end of the film that kind of like tie up these loose ends. They let you see what happened. These guys get pardoned, even though they were criminals that escaped from prison, they get pardoned. And and I thought that was great. And it's one of those things that's like that where the rewatchability. I'm certain I didn't catch all of those because they were kind of rapid fire at the end.
Yeah, you missed
and
the one about the dog.
Yeah. So yes, what is the answer to my question?
It was euthanized.
Oh, great. Yes. Yeah.
It was the Animal House ending. The Animal House ending.
No, you're absolutely right. They didn't. I think the dog is just, he's happy. He's a street mutt, and he helps Paddington out. Yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
But he was
he was
free
roaming dog.
Yeah.
He's a tramp, and we love him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I both of these movies were just so comforting in these times, and again, so rewatchable. Just amazing.
Yeah, I think happy is the key word, right? These movies, they make you happy. Yeah, it's crazy to think of it because the Grand Budapest Hotel is not necessarily a fun, lighthearted story. It's very serious at times, but the joy with which it's made and the craft on display takes you away, and you get or like you're glad for that adventure. And then Paddington is seriously just an hour 40 minutes of serotonin. Like even when things are bad, you feel yourself kind of like you're reading a children's storybook. Everything will be okay in the end. It's okay to feel a little scared right now. Everything will be okay in the end. But it's fantastic.
It's the ride.
It is. It's so good.
And I think the biggest testament you can have to the work of these two directors is how easily it was for them to get the actors of this caliber to work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like people want to work with Paul King. People want to work with Wes Anderson. There's a reason he has the stable of actors that keep coming back, is that the quality of work that he does, and they know that these directors are going to make them look good.
Yeah, and I thought about that. I was telling Jill about that the other day. I'm like, well, like Bill Murray's in it, and he's in a lot of Wes Anderson films. Owen Wilson's in it. He's in a lot of Wes Anderson films, but they have really small parts. And just think about convincing one of these actors to go there and do all the setup, get in costume, do the lighting, do the setup for just a couple of minutes in the film, and it's just, that to me is amazing. That's a testament to how much they like working with Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
So before I throw in a little bit of closing thought on this round, even though we're at the end, Tom, I know at one point we had talked about the shifting aspect ratios, and you had mentioned that you disliked those in some movies. Did it bother you in Grand Budapest?
Oh,
With
you
the
want to know
three
something
different.
Really crazy? I'm embarrassed by this, but so like it really stood out for me this time because I've seen it so many times. I just I watched it today, but I kind of like on my monitor and just had it kind of in the corner, just like making sure I kind of took notes of everything because I know it so well. But it really stuck out to me this time. But no, for some reason this one doesn't bother me. I don't know if it's because the shifting times, it's not just going like into an action scene and then we've got a new aspect ratio. This is like jumping 20 years and somehow it makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I hadn't noticed that. I wondered. I noticed it near the end of the film. I'm like, this is like 4:3 right now. Why is it? But I didn't remember it being 4:3 through the whole thing, and I'm like, did I miss something? And I think I did. I didn't notice it until near the end of the film.
Yeah, there's two box formats and one widescreen format based on 80s, 60s, and 40s.
Huh. Yeah,
it's all
that
to
makes
be able
sense.
to know where you are in the timeline.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I know other movies have done that kind of stuff with like color and that kind of thing. I think it's called Traffic. They tell you. What?
I think it's called Traffic.
Is that what it is? Where it's a different color depending on what location they're in?
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct.
You are correct. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember for sure.
It was funny how
it was just very your tone was very dismissive of it.
Yeah.
And that was that's what was funny.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I was just trying to remember what it was called.
No, I agree with you. It should be dismissive.
I love Traffic. I thought Traffic was great, but yeah, because they did the shifting color by how far they were from the border. Like on the border was white, and then it got cooler as you move north and warmer as you move south. And I don't know. I saw it, so I was in my 20s, and I was like, this is a freaking amazing. What a clever idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found this. So I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. It doesn't matter the Wes Anderson movie. I will go to and I'll see it. I will take anyone who will go with me. I will drag sometimes people to go with me just because I want them to experience Wes Anderson. Yes, my check is in the mail. But I really, really enjoy his style, his feel, his storytelling, and what he can do. With Paddington 2, well, with the first one, fantastic. The second one it just kept going. It's just so wonderful and happy and glorious that you guys have all said. So, very happy again with these two movies. One small note, when you said that you watching these really made you pull into why we wanted to make movies. And I noticed now there's only two of us with cameras on, but
yes.
Watching us nod and not watching us understand. Well, okay. But watching us all, like, these movies basically presented the magic that made us fall in love with us wanting to become filmmakers.
Yes.
They showed us that magic again that sometimes you're missing in film. And it reminded, people why we wanted to act or why we wanted to shoot a movie or why we wanted to create that magic ourselves. And I think that's an attestant to both of these movies of how just wonderful they are. And I mean, we can come
Mhm.
up with alliterations of words over and over and over again with wonderful and whimsical and cute and fun and happy. But I mean, it's all true. Like, there's not really anything we have said tonight. Yes, it seems like we're being a little Willy Wonka-ish, but it's true. These movies are very much all of those things. So
Mhm. Agreed.
I really, really, yeah,
Agreed.
really enjoyed all that.
I think this is what 181st episode, and it's our first Wes Anderson film.
It is.
Which
That
Oh,
is
wow.
true. Yep.
That's
I did. I
crazy
looked too.
me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
next year,
All
next
right.
year is gonna be all Wes Anderson.
Oh,
Oh boy.
All right. Round 4. The culmination of comfort and charm. Yep, that's what happened there. Okay. Mike.
okay.
Oh my God. I'm giving it to Paddington 2, simply because I went in totally like, why did Tom put both of these films together? Because I had seen Grand Budapest, and I'm like, man, so Paddington 2's got a lot to live up to, and boy, howdy did it.
Brilliant.
Telling you.
Tom.
Boy, I'm gonna have to give it to Grand Budapest just because, I mean, Wes Anderson is amazing, and this is the best of the best. And I just any other, let's put it this way: if Paddington 2 was a Wes Anderson movie, it would be my second favorite Wes Anderson movie.
Fair. Gabe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Paddington 2. I was like Mike. I was highly surprised at how exceptional that movie was, and I was not surprised by Grand Budapest. I had seen it before, and I knew Wes Anderson was a good director, but Paddington 2 really took me by surprise.
All right. And Kyle.
I'm gonna give it to Grand Budapest for the same reason Gabe gave for his. I expected Paddington 2 to be good because I loved the first one, and I'd heard the second one was even better. And I was kind of dreading Grand Budapest because I never know what I'm going to get with Wes Anderson. But I was charmed and I loved it.
Okay. So I'm not going to end on anything sad, but I thought this was, especially for a lot of the World War II people and things like that in here that do a lot of that historical work and all of our vets that we honor. I felt that this was actually one of the most appropriate stories I'd ever heard about Paddington, that I wanted to share with you guys. So Vladimir Zelensky, Ukraine's current president and former comedian and actor, actually voices Paddington in the Ukrainian dub of the film. Shortly after the 2022 Russian invasion, Hugh Bonneville tweeted, "Until today, I had no idea who voiced Paddington Bear in Ukraine. Speaking personally, thank you, President Zelensky." Michael Bond, the author of the original books, often said his inspiration for Paddington was seeing refugee children fleeing Nazi violence, especially Jewish children and his family sheltered during the war. He told film producer Rosie Allison, "We took in some Jewish children who often sat by the fire, quietly crying at night, uncertain about their parents' fate, and we felt the same. That's why Paddington arrived with a label around his neck." Zelensky is Jewish, with his grandfather being the only one of his 4 brothers to survive World War II. The others died fighting the Nazis. Michael Bond was humbled and grateful for Zelensky's contribution to his life's work.
That's amazing.
Yes, that it was one of those things that I read and I was like, oh my God, like, wow. So to end off in the happy tone, Grand Budapest Hotel. The pastries from Mendel's were actually created by a real bakery in Gorlitz, Germany, and became so popular that the crew had to restrict cast members from eating them in between takes. We had talked multiple times about Wes Anderson and the actors that reoccur in his films, and it is interesting because Wes Anderson because they are actually approached by Anderson to be in his films, but it is more often than not many of the actors are almost begging Anderson to be in his next film. So I would say that to our testament of what we talked about with all the actors and things like that, that a lot of them, they're wanting to be in the movie. They want to be there. You know, Bill Murray says, I don't care what part I play type thing. So I think that's kind of neat. So pretty amazing stories about both of these movies and about the directors and writers and stuff. So I think that's pretty all right. Nice work, kids. All right. Well, with that being said, let's go on to recommendations. And yeah, we're just going to start right there at the top. Tom.
All right. So my recommendation is going to be a little bit off kilter here. Movie came out in 2022. Movie theaters are kind of getting back on their feet, and so not a lot of people saw it. But it's called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and it's the story of an actor named Nicolas Cage, played by Nicolas Cage, and he gets roped into going to a super fan's birthday party, played by Pedro Pascal. And he gets caught up in some drug running, but so he plays Nicolas Cage, a version of Nicolas Cage who was actually in all of the movies, and so Pedro Pascal's character has the props and costumes from the movie, and then things start kind of spiraling out of control, kind of in an adaptation way, kind of like a reflection on pop culture and society. But the two characters bond over the movie Paddington 2, and it's really funny. And Nicolas Cage does such a great job playing this exaggerated version of himself. And Pedro Pascal is, I think he's a really funny actor. I always love seeing him on Saturday Night Live. So if you didn't catch it when it was in theaters, check out Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Very, very good recommendation.
Thank you.
Gabe.
Well, during pregame, before we started recording, we were talking about how hard it is to come up with recommendations. Recommending something we haven't recommended before. Speaking of Wes Anderson, I recommended Isle of Dogs twice already, and maybe consecutively. I don't remember. So it is a great movie, and I'm not going to recommend it a third time. But the idea is that it's difficult to come up with recommendations. But I think this is one that Mike might get on board with if he hasn't seen it yet. It falls into Mike's category of like action movie. I'm going to recommend Sisu, Road to Revenge. I recommended the first one, I think, because I wanted to see it, and it was crazy over the top, like Finnish John Wick. And Sisu Road to Revenge is even more over the top. It's crazy. But it's, we were talking about how these were just they were just entertaining movies that you could just enjoy. And this one you can just kind of turn off your brain and enjoy the crazy over the top action sequences and just marvel. I just can't imagine how they get this stuff, because I think there's a lot of practical effects. They're doing a lot of this stuff for real, explosions and fire and bullets and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. So it's not really to the caliber of the movies that we talked about tonight. But if you want some mindless violence and some action, check out Sisu Road to Revenge.
I have not seen it.
The mine scene is top notch. There's nothing like it. I highly recommend both of them.
Have you seen the first one, Mike?
I have.
Yeah.
And it is.
It's not quite as good as the first one.
Right.
They're fantastic.
I understand, but yeah, you said it best. It's Finnish John Wick. And yeah, pretty damn good.
Gabe recommended the first Sisu movie in December of 2023.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go.
Almost. Well, good lead in. Kyle.
Okay, I saw a couple movies in the theaters lately. One of them I liked a lot more than the other, but I'm gonna warn you, maybe controversial, I guess, in some way for some people. So do your homework. If you're
Did we lose Kyle?
a dark comedy, so if you're into that, I would recommend it. So check it out.
Okay. I don't know whose side cut out more, me or you or what.
I
but
don't know
missed
either.
all of it.
Yeah, we
I
missed.
missed all of it.
Wait, you missed everything I said?
Yes.
I heard
Almost.
you start the recommendation
Lord.
and then it just disappeared.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
I was-
fantastic.
yeah, same
Okay,
here.
see the movie The Drama. I'm done.
and what he said was the most magical thing on this planet, but you'll never know. Oh my God.
That
Great
was
recommendation.
Fantastic.
Is it freeze on all platforms?
I had
was
nothing.
not getting. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
nothing. I heard nothing.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry, Kyle. That sucks.
We've got
I don't
storms
do
going.
second
Well,
takes.
We've got
we'll let you.
storms
We'll
going
let you go
through,
through it
so.
again if you want to.
Yeah, take two.
I don't do second takes.
It's very true.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, we'll move on to Mike then. Sorry, Kyle.
All right. Well, there's a movie out in theaters that kind of gave me the same feeling that both of these movies did. It's uplifting. You lose yourself in the story. The visuals are absolutely spectacular. The writing is fantastic. The acting is fantastic. And it just blew me away. And I would recommend seeing it on the biggest screen possible. And it's directed by Lord and Miller, written by originally in book form Andy Weir, but also Drew Goddard helped write it. It stars Ryan Gosling, Sandra Hüller, and James Ortiz. It is Project Hail Mary. I mean, it is just a fantastic movie. It has everything. It has great acting, great writing, great visuals. And if you know Lord and Miller's work, they add comedic points in when there's not really supposed to be a comedic point, and it just works. Just like with Paddington, just like with Grand Budapest, there are little things here and there that just make it so much better. So check out Project Hail Mary if you haven't yet. I'm surprised no one has seen it yet.
I've seen it. It's beautiful.
I haven't yet. I thought you guys had.
Practically perfect.
My
seen
Project
it.
Hail Mary shirt showed up today.
Yeah.
Should have-
It's gorgeous.
it was
So
a really-
tell
it was
me,
a really nice shirt.
And a lot of stuff is practical.
Yes,
It's just amazing.
There's
they
probably
shot
nice
everything in
experience.
space.
yes.
They did.
How much of it is ad libbed? I had heard that a lot of it that there was like a structure, but a lot of it was ad libbed. Is that? Does anybody know anything about that?
Boy,
No, I haven't heard anything.
If it
I-
was, it is perfection
yeah,
because it does not feel that way.
and
And there can't be too much because
Yeah.
typically they're giving actors writing credits when it gets too far off the line. So,
right,
Mm.
And,
yeah.
and
We're not
Gosling's a
talking
producer,
about
but he's not a writing.
we're not talking about female Ghostbusters, where everything
Right.
was kind of ad libbed, right?
Right.
I'm guessing there were some ad libs in there that were kept, but I mean, Andy Weir's a really good author, and you've got a really good structure there.
You've got a base.
Yes,
Great recommendation.
thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with a quirky, whimsical, goofy movie that has come out recently. Unfortunately, it's 2 hours long, so I know Gabe, you'll never see it, but I thought it was fantastic. It has one of my favorite actors
in 2 sittings.
My favorite actors of all time, and that's Sam Rockwell. Because man, I just love that guy. He's fantastic. But it's got Juno Temple, Haley Lou Richardson, Michael Pena in it, and it is good luck, have fun, don't die. And it is the most crazy, over the top, random. You're not entirely sure what's going to happen next. And then when something big does happen, you're like, wait, what just happened? And why? And it's grab a bucket of popcorn, sit back, laugh, be goofed out, and enjoy, because it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I will watch
enjoyable.
that one. That's definitely on my list. I haven't had a chance yet, but that's one I'm interested in too. And I feel the same about Sam Rockwell, especially after Moon. I thought, oh man, he's fantastic.
Moon's glorious.
Yeah, and acting with himself, he's just so good. So I'm with you on that. Yeah, I can sit through 2 hours of that.
All right. All right. Our monkeys have tapped me on the shoulder, jiggled my nuts, and picked my nose, and told me that it is time for the winter sick girl. So,
ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Your winner by decision is Grand Budapest Hotel.
now, I will say that if it would have been for Kyle's vote, if Kyle would have voted for Paddington, it would have been a perfect show, because we were tied all the way up until the very last.
And I was sweating bullets because I don't have the tie announcement.
The tie recorded?
No, I have it recorded. I just don't have it in the soundboard.
Yep.
I'm like, oh God, what do I do?
Yeah, because
I'll do it during recommendations.
We were really, really close. 7-9, Paddington 7, Budapest 9. So very, very close. Like I said, we were tied all the way up until that last round. So this is a huge testament to these movies. Even though we say that it doesn't mean one's bad or, one's better than the other, but to say that they were this close, neck and neck, pretty much across the board, everyone struggled to make a vote because everyone wanted to vote down the middle, really just proves what these movies are about and how they make us feel and the enjoyment that we get off of them. So awesome show. And awesome. This is our
third 9-7 this year already.
Yeah. So super, super close.
Better than 6.
And the second month in a row where my vote decided who won.
That is true. Yeah, because last month we would have been in a tie too because of Kyle. It switched.
Oh yeah, last was 11-9 last month. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, please leave us a review on whatever podcasting service you use. It helps us reach new listeners. And if you us, tell your friends. And if you hate us, tell your enemies. You can contact us at cinesmack@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, where you can enjoy the live recordings that you're listening to right now. Just search Cinesmack. In May, which mob boss are you going to piss off and whose hit list are you going to be on? Because it's Road to Perdition versus Miller's Crossing.
Oh my God,
that's gonna be so good.
I know. For Kyle, Gabe, Tom, Mike, and myself, please, thank you for listening, and go catch a flick.
Go catch one now.
Do it now.
Don't question it, just do it.
This has been a test of the Southsider Studios podcast system. This was only a test. If this were a true lack of entertainment, your head would explode. Go to iTunes and subscribe to our feed. Just search Southsider Studios.